Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome in to our very first special episode of Learning the Horizon. You'll notice it's not the man with the beard up in the corner over there.
Not at
That's
all.
ISO for you. ISO is here to show us how to set up the HZD and Forbidden West load removers. I think we'll go over the video-based load remover, like you can kind of see here, and there'll also be obviously the memory load remover that's used on the PC versions and stuff like that. So this
but
is
not in this episode. I don't know if we
sure.
actually need a special episode for that.
To be fair, that's true. So yeah, we'll do the video based one, and we'll check it out and teach you how to set this up. We do get some requests in the Discord, so this will be our kind of go-to video that we'll post and pin, and will be in all the places, the GitHub and all those kind of things. It'll be in the Discord for file setup and things like that. And then we'll have things out there for you to use. So I am going to let the very prepared ISO take it away.
Very prepared. All right, cool. Thanks, Sweetie. Thanks for the intro. Yes, we will be setting up the video-based load remover for HZD, both original and remastered here. And first off, why was a new load remover needed at all? So the basic functionality of the old load remover was that you have the game, of course, then you transfer it into OBS either via capture card or remote play. And in the OBS, you needed to have the virtual cam plugin installed. And by that, the video got transferred to Livesplit. Livesplit video on that hand also had a special component installed, the video auto split component. And in that component, there was a bunch of image processing going on to detect whether a load was currently happening. And with OBS 28, the virtual cam plugin broke. And OBS introduced its built-in virtual camera, but that didn't really work out that well with this setup. The virtual camera feed kind of randomly broke, and it was also kind of iffy to get it set up in the first place, and you had no idea whether it was actually running or not until you encountered a loading screen in the run, which is kind of bad. So yeah, thanks Plagueis for providing the old load remover for what was then the go-to way. And yeah, we came up with a new way. The left side here is going to be the same. You need to transfer your gameplay somehow into OBS. Now OBS has another thing installed. It's called the Advanced Scene Switcher, which is a very powerful plugin to automate basically everything you want to have in a stream. And now OBS will be doing the bunch of the image processing, and OBS will only be sending pause and unpause commands to Livesplit. So you don't actually need anything special on the Livesplit side.
Well, that's cool.
Yep. And so yeah, as with every presentation, there's a small overview about what we're going to go through. First, the Advanced Scene Switcher installation. Then we will be setting up the load remover itself in different configurations. You will notice that we have prepared a few files in the repository for all kinds of configurations, and then some additional stuff, like what you need to look out for when your capture card doesn't provide 1080p outputs, and how you can actually create new comparison images if, for example, the color spaces don't match with our existing ones. And this setup is in theory also cross-platform compatible. So in the old, and this is still true, Livesplit itself is not cross-platform, so you need to run it on Windows. But with LiveSplitOne, there's a project going on the Livesplit side to make it also cross-platform. So basically run web-based kind of. So this will also be possible in Linux and Mac OS. So yeah, I will be showing that it is in theory possible to also get this load remover set up in macOS, even though I'm not going to be switching from Windows here.
Oh, nice.
So yeah. And that's
I have a question for the class. Does HZD, or sorry, is LiveSplit on Mac? Is there? I didn't know actually. Like you can.
LiveSplit itself is not on Mac. LiveSplit
Okay.
is .NET based, and it's Windows only currently.
Excellent. Okay, I did not know.
So yeah. So let's head into the fun part and get set up. So yeah, I will be showing the full screen here so that it is a bit better readable about what I'm doing. The base of what we have right now is we have a basic OBS setup, which is showing like your gameplay through a capture card here, and a kind of cam here that I've disabled right now. And then I've also set up like a scene where you sometimes see that you have like the gameplay not on full screen and something going on around that stuff. So when you're running, the first thing you need to do is install the advanced scene switcher. Oh yeah, and I have LiveSplit also here, which with some splits showing real time and game time. So we can see that it's actually working. So first thing you need to do is close OBS. Boom. So this is not gonna, this will not work to install during streaming. You need to set it up beforehand. And then you go to our, you go to the linked sites, which is Warm-Up Till. This is the guy who maintains the scene switcher. And scene switcher, and then this is the default landing page. Then you go here to releases, and you almost always want to grab the latest one, which will be on top. You get the installer here, and then you will be provided with the installer. Where is it? Here. Double click. I hope the stream is still up. Yep. Yes, I had the admin prompt here. I'm still use the readme OK, right? Greedy?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems all right. Yep.
So yeah, here you need to select where you have OBS installed, which you're using to stream. I have it on my default stuff, so I'm just gonna go through here. And we are done. And then you open up OBS again. And you will see that nothing really has changed. So that's cool. And
nothing happens.
But now you have here the advanced scene switcher icon. And I guess this is kind of covered.
Yeah, I didn't think about that being on top. That's cool if you just turn it off too, but.
And now you also see what the stream sees. So this is the advanced scene switcher, which we will be using for the majority of this. But before we get into that, there's one thing you need to do in LiveSplit, and this you will always need to do that, at least for now. Because you need to go to LiveSplit, right-click, Control, Start WebSocket Server, not TCP, WebSocket Server. If you don't have that option, then you are not on the latest LiveSplit. The WebSocket server was only added in 1.8.33, so make sure to grab that. So Control Start WebSocket Server, and if it is running, then you will see that you only have the option to stop that WebSocket server. So yeah, cool. Then you also need to go to our repository now at the latest. This is the HorizonSpeedrun Horizon Load Removal repository. Also go here to the releases. And here you have the one main thing you want to grab here is the files for the video load remover and the readme if you want. But to be honest, I would suggest to simply follow along the readme from the landing page, because this will have the latest changes if there are any that have not yet been released. So yeah, with this file, which I have also like here, there's a subfolder files, and we will be needing all of these files at some point during this. So what are these here? So there are two ways to import the macro. We have like some files here with all macros for the import, and this is by far the easiest method. So you open up the advanced scene switcher, and as I said, don't use the automatic scene switcher. This is something different. And then you go to general, hit import, then you need to select that file. All advanced scene switcher settings, and then all macros, boom. Imported successfully, then the dialog closes, you need to reopen that. And then everything is basically set. We have the WebSocket here set up, which is probably connected, that doesn't show here. And we have the macros, but this is not all of it, because we need to select something here. So here, the source, this is where the gameplay is going to come from. So usually you want to select here your capture card, HG60 in this case, and then we need to select the pattern that is going to match against our capture card image. So we click on browse, hit selected file, and go here again, comparison images, and so these are 4 comparison images for Zero Dawn Original. If you're on the English locale, you want to select this most of the time, and these are for the remastered version. This is German, and this is Portuguese. Pretty sure. So yeah, we select that, and then we are basically set.
Is there a reason you picked Portuguese as well? Do we have a Portuguese runner?
Charlie, no? Spanish?
Oh, is that? I figured he spoke Spanish, but yeah. Different language, but I guess close.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, this is basically all you need to set up, and so now you can actually test this. So this is the actual capture card that is currently running the game. So I have Aloy here, partially. And as you can see, when I'm moving my screen, the preview here on the bottom left corner updates to what we have. And then we restart from save, and we see here full image matches the pattern, and this is what you want to see. This means that it will be recognized and load removed when you have actually the timer running. So yeah, let's try it out. Start the timer. Load remove. Or not, I guess. Oh yeah, you should also enable the macro. So yeah, with the import, it's by default it's disabled. You don't want to have the original and remastered enabled at the same time, because it's going to strain your CPU. So now we actually have the game time stopping.
Very well done.
And that is the episode. Bye.
All right. So yeah, it's just setting up that view of that part of the screen, and then yeah, and setting these macros up, and all these files are up on the GitHub. Excellent.
Exactly.
That went way faster than I expected.
Of course, we are not done. This is like the first point of what I was showing earlier. So yeah, one thing to note here, we select the source here. And when you select the source, then it doesn't matter how you've actually moved the source in the scene. Because when you move the source on the scene, it has like a different attribute to it. It's called the scene item transform. So the source itself still has full 1080p. So this will work as it is also with the rescaled screen. And that's why you select the capture card here. And that's also why it doesn't matter. And yeah, we are capturing the source. So it doesn't matter that you have like an overlay hiding part of the loading image here. Of course, you shouldn't cover all of the loading for verification purposes. This is probably not a good idea to have. And
right.
Yeah, so yeah, at least part of your loading should be visible, but it is not technically required for the load removal.
Yes. Yeah, so if you're like me and you put yourself over your video, like when you're streaming, and you record that way, and you're on the left side of your video, which shame on you first, and you might be covering your loading screen. That's not going to affect your load remover, but we do, I think, like to see that stuff when we're verifying videos, when the mods are verifying things. So just like keep that kind of stuff in mind. It's all right to cover other things, but we want to show we want it to show when you've got a loading screen there. It just helps with like ensuring that the video is legit.
Yep. And let me quickly here set up the HZDR one. I'm not going to switch games, so this is original HZD, but the HZDR load remover still works here. So this is going to be files. I also selected the capture card. And then you go to comparison images, and I need this one to actually function. So here we have the threshold tighter. This is because on the remaster, the loading screen fades out. And as you can see from the preview, we have like chosen this part of the image, because that is the one that will only not be covered in the loading screen. So if you're in the main menu here, you also see the background, but there's stuff covering this, and this is gonna mess up with the matching here. So yeah, this is important to work. And if you don't see it stopping the timer, you can always go to the macro, click show match, and then force a loading screen like this. And as you can see, it's barely within the threshold at 0.992.
Interesting.
So that is the easy way to set this up. Here, and as I said earlier, it doesn't matter if you have this like scaled here. All right, so as I expected, this is taking way longer than I anticipated. So sorry about the 30-minute.
No, you're good.
Original estimate.
I didn't know some of these individual details like that. You could cover things up, and that the way it uses the source, and it's just kind of foolproof. And I'm really impressed with that, I guess. I mean, obviously, I'm sure it has issues every now and then, like some of these video load removers do, but like I haven't heard them, so that's nice. And it's cool.
Yeah,
that you guys
we with the WebSocket connection. I haven't heard any issues with that load remover since. Originally, we were using another method to pause and unpause. And when your CPU load was very high, that could lead that some pauses or unpauses could be missed, which is, of course, pretty bad for this kind of stuff. So yeah. I've now switched to another scene collection, which is the original. So we now have the clean slate regarding advanced scene switcher, because now we will be doing another way of a setup. which is gonna be one fully manual and one where we import just the macro itself. So when you open up the advanced scene switcher here, you wanna at the beginning you have 300 milliseconds. You wanna set it to 10 milliseconds because this is gonna determine how fast your how many times per second your image recognition will be done. At 60 FPS, we have a frame time of 16.67 milliseconds per frame. So we are not hitting every frame exactly, but it's close enough. And we actually have better stopping times with this load removal than with the one before. When I was timing this originally with yet another method, I was having delays of stopping the timer of around 4 to 6 frames with this load remover, and with the old one, if I got it to work on the new OBSs, I had delays of like 7 to 13. So
wow!
So we got a nice reduction in latency about the delays here.
Excellent. Nobody ran it at 60 FPS.
Okay, so when you set this up, you change from macro to general, change this to 10 milliseconds, and then we are good on the general page here. Then we go to macro, and then we have here the individual macros for import. So as you might have noticed, the German and Portuguese language version have different lengths of the reference images, so you also need to adjust the settings that are in here. So that's why we have different macros for that. I don't know. Oh, this is HZDR. I was wondering why this was different. So here you select here, right-click, import, and then you need to paste the text itself. So I'm gonna open up this. It is JSON encoded. Is it JSON? I'm pretty sure it is. Control A, Control C, and then simply paste here. Click OK, and you have most of the macro imported. So yeah, this is HZD, so we have threshold of 9.95. Gonna deselect it for now. We select the source, which is gonna be HD60. We select the reference image, which is not that path.
I don't know if File Explorer is gonna know what to do with that.
Probably not, but Microsoft might crash, so. So we have the import. No, wait, where I'm going. This is comparison images. Then we select here the loading English version again. And there's that part. But as you might notice, there we didn't have the. So when you import the macro, the WebSocket connection cannot be imported. So we add new drop down, add new connection. We're gonna name it LiveSplit, because then we need to select custom URI. Localhost is correct. The port is not correct. This is gonna be 61834, which is the default port from LiveSplit, but you can also like change it here in the settings. This is this port right here. And then for some reason we need to add this here, /LiveSplit. Password is irrelevant. Connected starboard, reconnect automatically. We want to have that. So if you open up a LiveSplit, it's automatically connecting to the WebSocket server, and it's gonna try to reconnect if it ever disconnects from that. And you make sure to untick that button, because we are not using an OBS WebSocket. This is a normal generic WebSocket. Hit test connection, and this should be fine. And if it says connected and authenticated, then we are good to go. Yeah, we've now also have this here. The port here is not correct, but I guess this is how they are shown here, at least in this version of Advanced Scene Switcher. And then we need to select this here also. So how these macros work is basically here you have a trigger of some kind. And then you have here the branch that is executed if the trigger is hit. So in this case, if the pattern goes from non-matching to matching, then we are executing this part of the macro, which is going to send this keyword pause game time to the LiveSplit WebSocket. And if it goes from matching to non-matching, then it will execute the else branch, which is this part down here, which is going to unpause the game timer. So that's how.
Oh, and that's what you were talking about at the beginning, where you said that it's the old ones had a lot of stuff going on, whereas the new one is just it's sending on an on-off signal, basically.
Exactly. So this is all, but yeah, the video processing here is still fairly complicated, but I guess OBS is better prepared to handle this kind of stuff compared to LiveSplits, because
I would imagine
that's kind of what OBS does.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is gonna be it. So we hit run, we restart from save, and the game timer is pausing.
That's so wild that it works on the remaster and the regular one. But cool.
I mean, it's just different kinds of reference images. So.
Yeah, you just throw the image in and whatever you have there. Yeah, it works. Yep. Cool.
So yeah, now for the last part, because we're gonna set up the HZDR. I can type HZDR load remover from scratch. So this is mainly basically all is described here in the README, and that README open. So yeah, we went over the file settings import, and then we also went through the macro import, and then we have like the manual setup. And this is like showing everything that you need to know with a comparison image at the bottom, so you can compare your stuff. And so we are just gonna follow along the HZDR one. I don't think I can arrange the things here. So yeah, action is video. Select the source. The source is the capture card, and this is matching pattern. Pattern is files comparison CDR operator in my case. As I said, this is, you need to check whether this is working for you. Threshold value is going to be at 0.99. And it's actually important, as I said earlier, to leave this at 99 for the remastered. We're going to use the alpha channel here, even though we don't use alpha channel. So this trigger here has the option to use the alpha channel of an reference image as a mask. But we don't need to do that in the remastered. But we're going to select this anyway, because otherwise the threshold will be met much more easily compared to that, because if essentially you have another channel on top that perfectly matches every time, which is not what you want here. Pattern matching mode is going to be square difference, and if you have done anything with video processing or image processing, you will recognize like these other things. Square difference is the one we're going to use now. The other options have difficulties when you have a completely black screen. Like example, the capture card is off. So they might recognize that as capturing because of how they are set up. but square difference does not have that. And actually don't know what we do here. Oh yeah, perform check only in area. There we select give the area where we want to set this up. So these values are given here. It's 12, 67, 61, and 361, 371. Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Easy.
Oh, that's just setting up the area that it checks. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is like the area that we've agreed upon to check for the remastered.
Right.
And then to actually get the else branch, you need to click this equal sign or whatever. And then you select the if branch here, which is going to be WebSocket, generic WebSocket methods. Here we of course have the LiveSplit WebSocket connection from the other macro because they are shared across the macros. If not, you would need to set it up here. And then the text is going to be pause game time. Then you should be able to paste this right here to copy it, and then you simply set this to unpause game time, and we are done for HZDR.
Question is, why aren't we importing this one? I think we're just showing both ways in which to set it up.
Exactly. This is so yeah. These are all the three ways we have currently. Either import all, import per macro if you already have some stuff running in the advanced scene switcher. Make sure to lower the check conditions here, and yeah.
Right on.
And hopefully I didn't forget anything. So this should use the remaster now. Yep, it's pausing.
Hooray! Success, everybody. You too can make it work.
Exactly. So yeah, cool thing about the remaster, or not so cool thing, is it doesn't have special loading screens. So for the original, and that's why I'm also here, if you start approving here, you get the special loading screen from the pre-rendered movie entering cutscene. Mm-hmm. And that also is a hidden loading screen, and yeah, I don't want to do this right now, but when you click skip, then it will show loading here, and that's why the HZDR one has a bit of a relaxed threshold, and that's also why it has the alpha channel around the loading. So we are basically just checking for if there is the loading font. And if you can see that some of these special, there are 4 in total. If you see that some of these special cutscenes are not hit, then you can relax this threshold, but for HZD original only. You shouldn't go below 0.91 to 0.92, because then it will get false positives throughout the run. Because some other stuff can match fairly well. For example, if you're in the map and you see this fog or edges here, if they can sometimes get detected as matches if you have the threshold too low.
So it's really looking for it to match that image, and what you have there is white letters that are not exactly a high resolution. And so when it's zoomed in so far, and so now you've got that white fog, and it's just oh, well, if my threshold is low, it doesn't have to match these edges on the text, and so it can just pick it up and be oh yeah, sure, exactly. This is close enough. Yep. Okay. Right. I mean,
this comparison image is fairly robust against pure white images, so it wouldn't match that. But yeah, you need to check, of course, whether this is matched. I don't think with the setup we currently have this has ever been reported to be an issue. So yeah. And by the way, the old load remove was also basically working on the same principle, just with different tools, like with the video auto split component in Livesplit.
Okay.
So yeah, what I wanted to go with this is the remaster doesn't have these special loading screens, or it does have that, but they are not recognized as loads in our speedrun community because we have no way of capturing them due to how the loads are looking slightly different. I can show that here. This is a recording from PC I did yesterday. So I was just running around a bit, and then here I'm starting to fast travel. You can see there's no loading screen here, or no loading font here. And as the loading finishes, the image also fades out. That's why we have that very tight threshold of 0.99. And so yeah, this is the issue with the thing. Now, when you run the remaster from new game, and if you do it, if you don't mess up, you don't have a loading screen in the first split. And I'm gonna tell you, this is not very cool, because what will happen is that's not what I wanted to happen. Okay. Oh, yeah. What I wanted to show is this is currently not happening because I'm running my own compiled live version of Livesplit here. The game time will not show a time here because there hasn't been a load since between the start of the run and this. As I said, this is bad prep from my side to not have the official Livesplit here. So what it will instead show a dash like you skipped the split. And if you're only showing game time, then of course that looks kind of bad. So what you do against that, if you don't have the custom things, the thing that I do, you activate the PC auto splitter, because I've written something in there to also always make it assume that game time is used, and that will prevent that. If you're running a multi-game marathon or something, then there's another way to do this, because you won't have the game selected here. So you go to plus, here control scriptable auto splitter, and then you said this is similar to how PC things would be shown. And then you go here to files, ASL, always use game time. And then it will, as long as this is in the layout, you add this to the layout section. As long as this is there, then it will behave like this for splits that didn't have any loading screens yet. So now it has a loading screen, now they are different, now also the normal version would show the corresponding stuff here.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I've tried to get this installed in the normal Livesplit version, but the devs there kind of thought that other scripts or something might depend on the current behavior, and that's why they decided against that. So we have a simple workaround of simply activating the auto splitter or adding this to the layouts, and then we are good. Nice. Okay. So do we actually want to split this into 2 parts? Because no, this is already going for around 40 minutes.
Right on. How much you got left?
Yeah, some special stuff, to be honest.
Go ahead. Let's just
let's just do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, what now? I've said earlier that it is kind of cool that you can like move these things around, and it doesn't really matter how. What am I grabbing right now? Probably there we go. You can have it like this, and it will still work. Now, what do you do when your capture card here, for example, only supplies 720p? Well, of course, in here you go to transform fit to screen, but this doesn't work for the matching here. As you see here now, the capturing area is outside of what the source is currently providing, because we're just capturing the source at 720p. So now you need somehow you need to scale it up to be able to use the 1080p area and reference images. This might cause other issues, like you might have interpolation issues that it doesn't match that well with the comparison image, but at the first guess you would do that. So you go to, in order to do that, you go to group, you add a group here to your selections, to your sources, and yep, this looks good. And then you have scaled this. You have scaled up the capture card to match the full screen, and then you simply drag it under the group. And now the group itself is a non-transformed 1080p source. So you go to your settings, and instead of the capture card, you select your group, which didn't update because I just created it. There we go. You select the source to group. And
OBS is just like that. You always have to refresh things, click off and click back on to make it show up. Yeah.
I don't know if Advanced Scene Search would be able to catch that a new thing is created, but I guess it doesn't really matter because it's edge cases.
Right, exactly.
And as you can see here, it now works, kind of.
Oh, nice.
And it is still within the threshold, just barely, of 0.95. But even with the scaled up capture card, it still matches that. Now, I said the other source earlier. So what do you do here? You want to have this scaled up to this, which is not 780p, or it might actually be 720, pretty close to 720p, but it is definitely not 1080. What you do here is you build your true. I Seth just wrote in chat that we could use the 720p load remover. True, but I wanna demonstrate it, what options you have. So here with this gameplay in frame, you create a new scene called gameplay only. Because here, of course, you cannot like scale it up, move the group, and then scale it down. Actually, that might work, but let's just keep it that way, simple. You add the capture card to this empty scene, and then scale it up. Then you remove this here, and you add the scene that you've just created, gameplay only. Move it all the way down, and then rescale it how you want. And of course, here in the, might be knowing what this is getting at, in the macro we select like to restart it. So here we select scenes now, and we select the gameplay only scene.
Nice.
And that way we still have the correct setup here. Of course, with the scaling that we just had. So this is going to be SS.
All kinds of different ways to set it up. That's cool.
Yep. Okay. But there's one thing where this will changing sizes itself will not work. Let me just grab this. I'm gonna change this again to 1080p. Big one group. So yeah, we have like this full screen setup, but for some reason you have like a difference in color. I need to set this a specific way so it doesn't really actually match. Let's just go with this. I specifically set it to dark because the loading itself is very wide, so it doesn't really get affected by most of these options here. But you get the idea. Of course, nobody will stream that way. But unless, I don't know. If you want to stream that day, don't do it with a filter on the capture card itself. Wrap this in a group. Select the capture card in the macro, and then add the filter to the group. Then you can do some nice color corrections like this.
Nice shenanigans, yeah.
Yep. But now hopefully this will not match.
I say I don't see much, but
Yeah, me neither. So where did this actually?
Are we on the right one? Yeah.
Oh no, source HD60.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, right on.
Pattern was not found. It was barely not found, but it was not found.
Oh.
So yeah,
So
basically
it's enough of a color change to be like, yeah, it's not quite right.
exactly. And I could lower the value here, but that's not what I want to show here. What I want to show is how you create your own comparison image from your own screen cap of whatever setup you might have.
Okay.
So to do that, we're gonna remember that we're currently using the HD60 as our source. And in OBS, there's this handy feature since a few releases to capture screenshots of sources itself. And we're gonna need it because we want to have like the screenshot of the loading screen without any compression on it. The screenshots will be PNG, so it's losslessly compressed. But if you grab this from a recording of it, then there will be some compressions artifact, and you don't really want to do that. You don't really want to have that. So now I'm just gonna go restart from save, screenshot source, and then you will see that it has captured a screenshot. And this is what we're gonna go with for now. And then if you are unsure about how to do this, then do this part about grabbing the screenshot of your own loading screen and then just message us on our speedrunning community Discord in tech help, and then we can do the rest of this, what I'm gonna show right now. I hope this is gonna work. I haven't done this in a while, and you know, GIMP is always, you kind of forget about everything about GIMP. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't use it too often. How often do you really need a thumbnail?
Exactly. You have like your 1 or 2 thumbnails, and then you just like edit some some text on it.
It's about right.
All right, so I'm gonna use GIMP for this. We're gonna drag this in here, and then you need to have the reference area. I'm gonna move this over to my other screen. So the advantage of GIMP, and surprisingly also something like a Paint is also very good for that. You don't want rounded corners, and you can see this here about the position and size, and you want to have that match exactly the area that you've selected here.
Okay.
So position 99. And 25.
Oh yeah, you pulled that in close. Nice. I suppose it really is just looking for the loading word.
I mean, we're gonna have to remove the rest of it anyway, the background, because otherwise the special loading screen of the original HZD won't work.
Mm-hmm.
So this is gonna be select. Where is this? Crop to selection. So yeah, this is it, and then I think it's this tool. I need to.
Oh my.
Where you need to like move around it so that it like has some of the, or most of the edges of the loading stuff selected. And I hope. How do I get transparency here?
Oh, that's a good question. What are those other options above the color palette? Those are different colors. Never mind.
We select remove. I'm trying. Okay, so it's been a while since I've done this.
Oh, you're fine.
Anybody else want to chime in how I can get this to be filled with transparency?
I have no idea. Let's find out.
Doom, 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 doom. Remove that background. Well, I need Wolfie. I need to like see what I'm removing with.
Oh, okay. There's a. You got the selected, and then
yes, Alice, I'm in GIMP.
should be able to remove by color selection, I guess.
I mean, I have the stuff selected that I want to have transparent. I'm just not sure about how to actually make that transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Did I really?
Yes, we are showing how to set up reference images for the load remover.
And I'm failing at operating GIMP.
We just haven't used it in a while. Change the threshold on the bucket to 0.
Bucket. Oh. Does this even have alpha channel?
Oh, it says over here you have to add an alpha channel when I Google things.
Yep, I just added it and then
And then this doesn't say. And then it says like remove by color select, but I don't know if you're removing, I guess.
I am. I overdraw this with transparency. No, probably not. Why is this so hard?
Yeah, I guess no expert, but
Change the threshold on the bucket to 0. And erase to transparent. Ah, look at that.
well, check it out.
I guess there has to be a better way of doing this than what I'm doing right now, but I guess it works. So anyway, as you can see, we still have the edges of the font here. So now you need to export this. Just gonna ref. Actually, try export this with background color or with transparency, and then we should be good. So as you remember from setting up the macro manually, we use the alpha channel to like determine where we want to compare the image to the source. So everything we've now removed here is of course transparent and not getting compared. So now I just need to add this. Let me also add this here. So then we go to advanced scene switcher. Where is it? Oh, it's there.
So I said, didn't we move it off the screen earlier? I
Yeah.
can't remember now. Yep.
And then we select the new reference image here. Existing file. New ref. And hopefully this now works. Of course, when you submit a reference image, then we can easily like check whether this actually matches. And as you can see here, it's matching pretty perfectly.
Nice. So if you want to play in funky colors, you can still do runs that way. Challenge runs even.
No. As I said earlier, just leave the default color space as is. If you want to do that, wrap the source in a group. And then apart from changing transforms of the source, you can also like select different filters on each of each level. So you can leave the capture card itself without any filters. And then just go ham on the group itself.
Yeah.
It does filters. You have a complete blank slate here. You can do stuff like nerd. And then you can play like this.
I forgot about these. That's funny. Cool.
But it will still match, I guess. So let's reselect the original thing. Nope, this.
Yep. There you go.
And Livesplit is off screen here. So it still matches, even though with
That's
the
wild. Yeah.
inverted thing. So yeah, I guess this is about what I wanted to show here. I mean, we can quickly see or check out the without the inverse. Check out the special loading screen that comes here after the beginning of the proving. From experience, this is the one loading screen that is the easiest to miss. And as you can see, I don't do any CD runs because I'm bad at skipping dialogue. Or skipping cutscenes, more likely.
Yeah, that's something I would have to learn too. It's different in HCD. But
Dang it. Drum roll. Hey, yay, it works. And as you see now, it says loading, but with a different background. That's why these special loading screens are difficult. And now it's loaded, and this is also part of the rules. As soon as the loading has disappeared, the timer begins. So you also need to be quick about actually then skipping the cutscene to go into the proving fight.
Right on. Okay. So you got to be on you. It's not automatic, right? So you've got to be ready to skip when you can. And it's basically a button mashing exercise, but
yep.
Right on.
I think the rules were like written like with that in mind, that we don't have any automated way to actually detect when it's still loading, because this is also a slight difference between PC and console runs regarding pauses. In the PC run with the memory-based load remover and auto splitter, we see at the very beginning of the cutscene that it has started loading. But the rules for the console explicitly state that you have to try to skip the cutscene for the load to count, because only then the loading actually appears to be removed. So
yeah, so some stipulations that have to come along with it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't around back then, but I assume it's just like, okay, let's write the rules this way because this is what we can do.
Yep. Staff saying that it's about the same as before. So, right on. Good to know. Well, I'm glad to see that we did this and it worked.
Yeah. So
all right.
That's about that.
Thanks for that. We'll just, I think from here we'll move on to the next episode of the HZD New Game Plus story run with Scar, who is waiting in the wings here. Thanks so much, ISO. This is amazing. I'd never seen this set up before, and I know like you've walked so many people through it and stuff like that, and then obviously the work you put into making this. So thank you so much. I mean, like officially from the whole community, because it's awesome to have these things and see them work. And you guys have put so much time into things. It's crazy.
I initially had this idea when when I was watching the streams, I saw that this old version has kind of broken. Which one is it? And back then I was like looking at that scene switcher stuff, and in the wiki I found something that is very related to that. Let's just clean it up here a bit. There's one example here that shows a very similar way. It's about whether a specific icon appears on screen in a game to do something about that. And I thought, well, somehow you can probably make this work, but there were many issues with about what the advanced scene switcher could do at that time regarding interfacing with LiveSplit. LiveSplit has a way to just communicate via a file, more or less. It's called name pipes, but this was the initial release, but then Ari also said, and Lim also said that they had some issues with that. Elk back then was using another version which wasn't using these files. It was using a script within OBS to do the actual sending to LiveSplit, and that has never failed for him. And then, well, we got a WebSocket integration here, or it's been here for a while, and then we got a full WebSocket integration here into LiveSplit, and that's why I said, okay, let's do it like this, re-release it, and that's where we are now here.
Right on. Yeah, I never understood the nuances of how these things work. Now I could probably go through and set this up on my own, which I'll have to as soon as Scar's done with his tutorial.
Well, this is going to be your first split, right? Setting up the load removal.
Yeah, right. We'll just add like half an hour.
Just remember, you need to have installed the advanced scene switcher beforehand, before starting stream and OBS. And
yeah, I can't do it on stream. That's what we said. Yeah, right on. All right.
All right, ISO again. I have two addendums to yesterday's recording about the load removal setup. First, I wanted to show how this looks on the published version when you don't have a loading screen in the first split. So you start a run, you don't have any loads, like in the remastered prologue. And then you split, and then the game time shows as if you had skipped the split. And then you have like a fast travel or something, or some kind of load. Then you see the game time is stopped now. And on the next split, it will show the split as if it has ever happened. So yeah, this is a bummer if you are doing multi-game runs, and because then the HZD one would have to be at the beginning if you want to have that timed loadlessly. So in order to fix that, as I showed yesterday, we go to edit layout, add a control scriptable auto splitter, and then select the ASL file that is in the file section. And if you have that, you do this. You don't have any loading screen in the first split, but it still shows this split now. And of course, the load removal also works here. Okay, but what I actually forgot yesterday, and I said I would show, is the cross-platform version of this setup here. And so yeah, we don't need LiveSplit anymore. And it's gone. Cool. So yeah, as I said, there's this project of making LiveSplitOne, which is a web-enabled version of LiveSplit instead of the Windows-only .NET based version. So we have this is the one at the homepage. You can go to one.livesplit.org, and then you have like the web-enabled version, but there is like it's very yeah, it isn't very easy to make that work with the web version. But this version also has like a OBS plugin. So, and I've adapted this plugin a bit. We'll see if this gets merged. And then I created this release, and here there are no Linux binaries for now because the CI version is broken since it was written. But we have binaries for Mac and PC, basically for this OBS plugin inside of this LiveSplit plugin inside OBS. So what you want to do, you want to download one of these zip files that are according to your hardware. So usually it would be either this PC Windows or V3 PC Windows, or here the Apple file. And inside that, there is a didn't download it now, so anyway, you will see one DLL in, or one library in that file. Let's just go to the source of OBS. So here, program files, OBS Studio. And then this is like the top level file. And this plugin currently doesn't have an installer, so you will need to add this manually to your OBS installation. OBS plugins, then the architecture, and then you simply drop this one, in Windows case, DLL in there, which is here, OBS LiveSplitOne DLL. Then you need to restart OBS. As you've seen, I've already have that installed. And then you can add something here in OBS as a source. You see LiveSplitOne. I'm going to create a new one just to show how this looks. Then you can set like width, height, and then you need to define like splits and layout files. And you cannot actually edit them in here, but you go to the website one.livesplit.org, and here you can edit your split names and stuff like this, and also the times. And then you can export this, it will download, and then you have like the splits file. In a similar way, you can like adjust your layout as you want. You know, show RTA timer, some text here. Also added the transparency, which I haven't done here in any way, shape, or form. And then you can also go to layout, export that layout. It will also download that file. And then in OBS you can cancel. You can then select here the this corresponding file. So it's here. This is the splits file, and this is the layout file then. This LiveSplitOne layout file. And then you have it. Then you have like OBS, then you have LiveSplit inside OBS. And what this enables us now, I'm gonna delete that one that we've just created so I can use the one I have pre-set up. When you then go to settings here in OBS General, hotkeys, and you scroll down, you will find here LiveSplitOne, and you can assign hotkeys to when a split is also starting to run, reset, undo, whatever you have. Toggle timer method, of course, the capabilities are very similar to the normal deployed version. And then here, pause game time and resume game time. This is not in the, this is the change I made in my version of this, because the one that is currently in the LiveSplitOne repository does not have this defined as hotkeys, but we need that. So as you see, I have some hotkeys assigned here. Just go here, we start to run, we make a split, and we can pause maybe. Or not. There we go. I switched the time comparison to real time. So yeah, as you can see, we can then pause and unpause the game time with hotkeys. And now we just need to make a way. Now we just need to adjust our macro here to also work with this instead of the WebSocket. I mean, the WebSocket currently is inactive because I have closed down the normal version of LiveSplit. What we want here is select hotkey, and then we go to, should be source, and then we simply need to check here for the correct one. So when the pattern becomes active, we want to pause game time. And similarly, we adjust the else type here. LiveSplitOne resume game time. And then we should see that this works here. So yeah, let's go. And I'm not now restarting from save, and as you can see, it's now pausing the load remove time inside the OBS LiveSplit here. And as I said, this is in theory cross-platform, but unfortunately the Linux binaries are currently not available because of some error I didn't bother investigating much. But this also has enabled us to create like these Mac binaries for the plugin. All right, that's what I missed to show yesterday, respectively, and forgot about the OBS Mac setup. So yeah, that's it for the addendum. Take care and bye.
Well, hey man, thanks again. We will go to a little break here, and ISO is going to host the rest of us.
Yep, but I probably be lurking mostly. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks again for doing it.
Did we miss anything? Any questions in chat about this?
I don't see any. Nope.
Probably not.
No,
so if you're watching this on YouTube, I think you have linked all our socials. You will find us here in the tech help channel in our community speedrun Discord. And if you have any problems getting this to work, you can simply pop in there, and we will be delighted to help you set up your runs for Horizon Zero Dawn.
Right on.
Right.
All right. We'll see you all in a little bit.
And bye.